Hi everyone, welcome to Coach's Clinic. My name is Kyle here at Golden Home Fitness, and today we're going to go over pressing or pushing movements for some exercises. If you've been following me for the last 2 weeks, this will be the same type of structure. So this is more of an educational form for learning how to do new exercises, doing the exercises properly. You can be at any level to do these, to learn some new things from these exercises. Some of them are going to be beginner, some of them are more advanced. Some of them can be both, depending on the weight you're using. So hopefully you learn some new things and then you're able to apply it into your workout regimen. So the first thing we're going to work on is a basic movement, the push-up. Everyone has seen it, knows of it. So maybe some of you need a little bit of refresher on proper form. So I'm going to get down to it and start with the push-up. So for arm placement, some people might not think too much about this, but what you'll want to do is for just the regular push-up is your arm is going to be 45 degree angle from your body. So if you had your arm out straight like this and then down your torso, that's 90 degrees. So your elbow is going to be about halfway in between the 90 degrees and to your side. So I'm going to get down. For this, gotta remember to have a nice tight core, tighten your glutes. So at the beginning is a tall plank. Think about the placement of your hands, about shoulder width apart, and then strong core, tight glutes, and then down, back up. Remember to keep your shoulders back and down when you're doing these. And do as many as you need in your workout regimen. Now, if you're more of a beginner, that's perfectly fine, but majority of this same thing I just went over is going to be exactly the same. So let's do a modified push-up where your knees are going to be on the ground. So keeping your knees on the ground, same thing, shoulders back and down, hands below your shoulders. Again, 45 degree angle with your elbows and down. You have a lot less weight when you're doing this with the modified, but it's still about 65% of your body weight is still being used, so it is still a great exercise and a bit of a challenge. Another version, you don't have to go as low, is a incline push-up. So all you need is a bench or something similar. Same thing, all the exact same cues, where your hands can be in that 45, their elbows can be 45 degree angle. Hands about shoulder width apart. Standing nice and tall, strong core, tight glutes, and down. Do enough, you should feel that in your chest and to strengthen your core as well as it is still a plank. Now I talked about the 45 degree angle on the elbows. Now we can adjust the hand placement for something a little different. So if you open up your hands, you will actually have greater work on your chest and a little bit more use on your shoulders. So if you spread your arms farther apart, it does become a little more difficult in those areas because those are the areas that are being used. So I'm going to spread my arms out a bit further and down. Now, doing the exact opposite, where your hands are closer underneath you, it will start working out your triceps, the back of your arms, and less on your chest. So another variation, if you want to work your triceps a little bit more, this is what you will want to do. So my hands are right below me. Again, I'm going to try to have that 45 degree angle with my elbows as I go down, back up. Again, with all these, nice tight core, squeeze your glutes, shoulders back and down, looking straight down at the ground. Now we can use a few other equipment as well. So if you have one of these balls, it's great use for push-ups and another challenge. So it's more of a stabilization for your push-ups. So you will be using your core a lot more to make sure that you don't fall off. So the first one to do is hands on the ball, a bit more of a challenge, down, back up. Sure, it isn't inclined to make it a little bit easier, but with the stability of the ball, the challenge is to keep yourself not falling off on either side. And then the same thing with your feet. You can raise your feet up. Again, stability makes it a bit more of a challenge. Doing the same cues, thinking about where your elbows are at, where your hand placement is, tight core. Or if you don't want to use the ball, you can obviously use an incline like a bench with your feet up that way. So it's another challenge for a push-up. Another tool you can use, the medicine ball. There's a few different versions of push-ups you can use with the medicine ball. We'll use a couple of them here. So another way to challenge yourself is through when your hands are one on the floor and the other one on a medicine ball for the push-up. So placements are still the same, just one hand is getting more challenged with the moving ball underneath you. Do a push-up. Then you can swap sides. Push-up. Another one is just like with your hands close together when you're working the triceps. Same thing with the medicine ball. Both hands on the ball. So just like the hands together, it does work your triceps significantly more, plus an added stability challenge. Hands close together, gripping onto the ball, into a tall plank, tight core, and a push-up. And then the final push-up I wanted to go over is more of an explosive push-up. So it's similar to just like a normal push-up, but when you push up, you're going to push up hard, and your hands are going to leave the ground. So it is definitely much more of a challenge. You probably won't do as many of these, but think about your hand placement below your shoulders. A tall plank, down, and explode up. Land with your hands down, back up. And try to push up as far as you can go. Time for a little bit of a water break. Next thing I want to go over is bench pressing. So for this, we don't have a bench. I'm not going to show you a bench press rack, so I'm not going to use any weight except for the barbell. But it's the same basic idea if you have the rack above you. So the first one I want to do is right on the floor. You don't have to have a bench to do these. You can do it on the floor. You'll notice you can't go as far down because there's no space below you. So you'll be working about half the bench press range of motion. So if you need to work on that upper part of the bench press, that's perfectly fine. And that's what you need to work on the floor is great. There is more stability on the floor, so that certainly will help you as well. I've got enough room, thanks. It definitely helps if you're adding weight. Have a spotter for all of these. I'm not using any weight right now to make it easier on myself, make it safer, and I'm just showing you the movements anyway. So the first thing you want to do is imagine it's up above you. Just think about your hand placement. So just for a regular bench press, it's going to be about shoulder width or a little bit further than shoulder width apart. It's going to be above your chest. Your back is going to be nice and flat. Feet can be up for nice stability. And you just controlled down. Have your elbows touch the floor, and press up. Down, press up. Squeezing your chest together to raise the bar up. So that is the bench press. Well, without the bench on the floor. So now let's just move right on to having an actual bench here. So you normally have the bar right above you, so all you got to do is lift up and have it right there. It's always great to have a spotter when doing bench presses for safety reasons. I'll do it without any weight, so it makes it very easy for me. So I'm just, same thing as on the floor. Just imagine it's resting right here. First, figure out your hand placement, maybe a little bit further than shoulder width apart. Shoulders back and down. Nice flat back on the bench. Gonna press up. You're gonna have the bar above your chest. Your range of motion will be a little bit lower. You can have the bar maybe tap your chest or your rib cage a little bit. Don't let it rest there. I'm doing a little bit right now, but that's without any weight. And then squeeze up. Tap it up. Squeeze your chest together. Now we can change the hand placement for a change in your workout. So just like doing the push-ups, if your hands are close together, maybe a few inches apart, this will work your triceps a bit more. Same thing, close to your chest and back up. And the same thing with your arms, 45 degree angle, or your elbows, and press. Another thing you do with the bench is an incline. So what this will do is actually work up higher on your chest. So the higher you go up, the higher the muscles that be used on your chest. So maybe you want to do 15 to 30 degrees up just to raise it just enough so you work your upper pectoral muscles compared to your lower ones. But other than that, everything is the same. So I'm just going to have the regular hand placement on this, leaning back, imagining it resting above the rack, press up, and same spot when you're going down, in the middle of your chest. Again, 45 degree angle with your elbows, and press up. Squeezing the chest all the way up. Looking right up at the sky. Yes, so don't turn either direction. I am turning to the camera on a few occasions here just to look at you, but you will want to take a spot in the sky and rest the bar down. That is the last barbell bench press that I'll be doing today. And then now same versions of what we just did, but we can use dumbbells here. So I'm going to go back down. Use some dumbbells. I do prefer dumbbells personally. It is a bit more of a challenge of having to hold it above you, as the weight can be, you have to readjust your weight in either direction. And I also feel comfortable doing it when, if I am getting tired, I can move it to the side instead of needing a spotter for heavier weights like a barbell. I can at least release the weights on the side if needed. But all of these, you want to be in control all the way. So now at the beginning here, there's not going to be bar above you. So this is going to be how the dumbbells are used when doing a bench press with the dumbbells. So you want to lift them up above your head while you're going down, arms straight, twisting them to almost imagining you have a barbell above your head. Adjust your body. Nice flat back, strong core, and then down. Placement is the same as a barbell, then back up. Squeezing your chest together. That full range of motion. Now with these also, there's more things you can do. You can do one arm at a time. Same thing with, as I was doing with the barbell, you can do an incline as well. All the same movements and the same regional change. It will be working up your upper chest compared to more of the middle. Another thing you can do is flies. So with the dumbbell and barbell we've already done before, your hands will be going straight down. Hands are going to be above your elbows. But for this, your arms are going to be more straight as you go down to your side. So this one you'll need lower weights. It's a little bit more difficult with the weight, so it's better to have a lower weight for these. So I just drop the weight down, go to the side. You can bend your elbows a little bit more for these, and back up. You want to feel that chest stretch when you're down and squeeze it together to raise the weights up above you. Another advantage you can use with dumbbells is instead of using a bench, we'll go back to the ball. And with the stability ball, you will probably want to have lower weights for it as well, just because of the additional challenge of stability. So you'll be working your core a bit more when doing these, but you'll have your weights up. You're going to roll yourself down. Make sure your back is nice and straight. And then all the same movements that you can do. Just a regular bench press, the dumbbells. You do one arm at a time. You do flies. Another thing to do is also do the incline. So you want to roll a little bit lower. So your butt's going to drop just a tiny bit. And then you're at an incline. Remember to keep your back straight throughout the entire movement. Nice tight core. Looking up in the sky. And when you're done, rest them to your side. Walk yourself back up. Gently lower the weights down. And that is some movements you can use. Bench press, dumbbells, and the ball. Grab a little bit of water here. Now with all of these, you can also use a cable machine, bands, tubing, whatever you might have. I'm not going to show you today, but all these same movements that we just did with the dumbbells, you can do standing up with cables. So you can just stand up, have the cables to your side if you're doing both, bench press, you do flies, one arm at a time, and you can go up a little bit higher, go a little bit lower, depending on what kind of muscles you want to work in your chest. They're all pressing, and your shoulders will be used as well, and triceps. Now the next group of pressing movements we're going to work on is a little bit more going to be your shoulders are going to be hit for these. So I'll start off with the seated shoulder press here. So all I got to do is sit down, have a nice stable back behind you, pick up the weights. You can use your knees to push the weights up to your shoulders, out to your side, and lift up. Your hands are going to be above your elbows. Maybe go a little bit lower than your shoulder height for your elbows. Nice straight back throughout, so your core is going to be nice and strong and tight. And then just pressing up to the sky. These you can also do one arm at a time. Makes it a little bit more of a challenge. You got to stable yourself from side to side. So, all the same beginning, lifting up to your shoulder, out to the side, chest up. Make sure that you are nice and straight while pressing. Another challenge is just doing all these while standing up. So it's going to be using more of your body, not using the stability of the back of the bench. So everything the same. Usually these you want to have you'll have a lower weight. Lifting it up to your side, pressing up. And then one arm as well. When doing one arm, you probably want something to hold on to as well. So you can have a door frame, a pole, whatever you have. Maybe a little bit more sturdy than a seat. That's it. Something one of these. It is a little bit wobbly, but I'm not using too heavy of a weight, so I'll be fine. But just like we're doing one arm, it is a bit of a challenge to go from side to side. So you'll have a nice tight core while doing these exercises. Lift it to your side. You can also use both hands to lift it up to your side. Makes it a little bit more easy to lift the weight up to get into position. And there is one more I forgot that kind of in the middle here. So still going to be seated with no back. So you will be using your core quite a bit more. Same thing, both arms or one arm. Be nice and tall. Same thing as before, you can use your knees to kick the weights up, your shoulders out your side, and press up. Now you don't have the safety of the back behind you, so you need a nice strong core to do these. And then the same thing with one arm, all the same movements. Now I want to just change directions a little bit. So this, you might want to use a little bit lighter of a weight. So it's very similar shoulder press, where you lift the weight up to your side. And as you lift up, you're going to be twisting your body, pivoting that back foot to your side. Twisting to your side. Make sure you have the space to do it. Or if you have both weights, you can switch from side to side. Be nice and tall, strong core. Pivot one, pivot the other direction. It's great to be able to change directions as well. It's very important in your exercise routine. Now, I'm going to work on a little bit more of the triceps, but still the same pressing movements. So you've probably seen these before, the dips. So have a bench, maybe a chair, or whatever, something that's sturdy that won't wobble and force you to fall off. But your hands are going to be behind your shoulders, feet out, elbows and sturdy in one place. Imagine that you can't move your elbows, but except for bending them, and that's the movement. Bending down, back up. Make sure your core is nice and tight. You don't want to be curving your back, along with all these other exercises. That is the dip. The next exercise I want to do is just called the skull crushers. You can do these with dumbbells, or if you have lighter weighted barbells, that works fine. I'm just going to use a dumbbell for this. Take your weight, maybe one or two, whatever level you're at. Very much depends on your abilities. Take a seat, hold on to the weight, lower yourself back, have the weight above your head, have a nice grip onto it. Same thing with the dips, is that imagine that you can't move your biceps or your elbows in one place. It's pretty much locked there, except for the bend. Bend it up, straight back. Control down, back up. And I'll show you with two weights as well. Many different ways of doing these. You can also do one arm at a time. Lift yourself back up. Now we'll work on some tricep extensions. Just the bench again. So just like we were doing with the shoulders, you can do them seated with the help of your back, seated with the back down, or standing. So you'll see what I'm talking about here. So first, imagine with the seat with the back. Some backs like this is really high. It would be helpful since this might get in the way a little bit. So normally if I'm doing these exercises, I won't have the seat up just because this is in the way. So you just take your one weight, put it onto your knee, have a nice tight grip, knee up, fix your grip so you have a good grip onto the weight, the dumbbell. Then you're going to lift it. It's going to be behind your head. And the same thing that we were doing before with imagine your arms are stuck in one place except for the bend in your elbows and lift up. You want to try to get your forearms as far back as you can and then pressing up. Be nice and tall. It's a bit easier when you have the back. You can do it with both arms, or if you have a lighter weight, you can do it with one arm. And like I mentioned before, you can do it without the back, which if I was sitting down doing these, I'd do it without the back because it is a tall back. Plus, it forces you to use your core significantly more to be more of a challenge to that part of your body. Put it onto your knee, knee up, onto your shoulder, fix the grip, and back down and up. Nice and tall, strong core. Shoulders back and down in the correct spot. Safety on the way down, put it on your shoulder again, adjust it so you have a nice grip off the weight so you don't drop it on yourself. Put it on your knee, safety, and then you can drop it all the way down. Like I said, you can do these with one arm as well. Quite a bit easier since the weight will be a lot less when you're doing one arm, so it's easier to get it up above your head, get into that placement, and then everything else exactly the same. My shoulders back and down, correct spot, nice and tall. Try to get that weight all the way behind you and press up. Again, imagine this section of your arm, your biceps, triceps, are not moving except for the use of your muscles. And then, of course, do it for the other side. If you want to work on both sides. The advantage of doing one arm at a time is if you need to strengthen one arm, you can do more reps with that arm and let your other arm rest. And then, of course, without bench at all. If it's really heavy, kick your knee up, grab onto the weight, lift it above your body. More challenge is I'm using my entire body to keep myself up straight. Tricep extension down. And just like the bench presses and the push-ups, you can use the ball as well. And actually, I'll go back to the shoulder press because you can also use the shoulder press on the ball. And just like any of the exercises, use the ball. You're going to use lighter weights. Both safety and just difficulty is a bit harder when you're on an unstable surface. So you can lift up the weights by your side, and press up. Same thing with the tricep extensions. Weight above your head. Of course, you can do one arm at a time or both arms. Want to try to get that weight as far back as you can when doing these, especially when you're thinking about it when you're doing one arm at a time. But that is a number of pressing movements you can do. If you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to us. Next week, I'll be doing a pulling clinic, so it's the exact opposite. So if you followed me a few weeks ago, I did lower body pulling and pressing, or in that version, it was deadlifts and squats. So for a squat, you are pressing down to lifting up, and then for the deadlift, you're pulling, so you're pulling your hips up. So same thing, it's just this pressing, pulling your lower body and pressing, pulling in your upper body. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great day.